The service today was something that Spirit asked me to do, a month or so ago. You know, they give me put this on your calendar, you need to do this. And so this is from Spirit. So I'm going right into the chapter in the Aquarian Gospel. It's chapter 159. I'm going to just read it to you. All right. Just to put it in perspective, this is the last week. Jesus and the disciples are in Jerusalem. We've had the Palm Sunday experience. You know, it's the last week of he and his disciples being in Jerusalem. And he's been teaching a lot in the synagogues, teaching a lot to the people, teaching a lot to the disciples, trying to bring them up to speed. You need to understand this, you need to understand this. So this is really a download time. So this is Wednesday night. Okay. Bar Simon, who was once a leper and was cleansed by Jesus by the sacred word, lived in Bethany. In honor of the Christ Lord, he gave a feast, and Lazarus was among the guests, as was Ruth and Martha, and they served. You know, Lazarus was the brother of Mary and Martha and Ruth. Remember Mary and Martha? We hear about them quite often. He said to Mary one time, remember Martha was serving, and she said, Jesus, make her work too, because she was just sitting and listening. And Jesus said, Mary has chosen the better part, Martha. And so Mary sat and listened. So, as the guests reclined about the table, because they would lie, you know, they would recline, Mary took a cruse of rich perfume and poured it out on Jesus' head and feet. And this is part of the culture. It was something we probably don't understand today in who we are, but to them it was very important to have the head anointed and to have the feet anointed, especially with a rich perfume, was quite an honor. And then it says that she knelt, and with her hair she wiped his feet, and the odor of the rich perfume filled the room. So in this moment, Mary is giving a great demonstration of honor to her master, to Jesus, to his teachings, and taking wiping her hair, his feet with her hair. We've seen that in the scriptures before, so it might not be an uncommon thing to do, but it's a very honoring thing to do. So she's having a moment of really honoring Jesus. So Judas, always looking at the selfish side of life, exclaimed, "For shame, why did you waste such costly perfume? We could have sold it for 300 pence and had money to supply our wants and to feed the poor." So Judas's response was, excuse me, this is like way too expensive to be doing what you're doing with it. And on a matter level, we could take that. That's a lot of money. We could supply our needs and we could feed the poor. So his eye was on matter, was it not? It was on things of this earth. It was like, what are you doing? And he's pretty aggressive with it, apparently, because he gets the other disciples involved, and they say, "Why, Mary, what a profligate you are. You should not throw away such wealth." Profligate is someone who is a reckless spender that just willy-nilly does not care. So the inner circle of Jesus turned against this woman. They knew her well enough. She was a part of the troop that traveled with him, and they felt that they probably had permission and the right to do so because she was one of them. They turned against her and disapproved and judged what she was doing. They were the leaders. These were the men who had been out teaching and healing and talking to people across the country. And I want you just to see, in this moment, they turned against this one woman for what she was doing. They were judging her as she was anointing their master. So they could only see through their eyes, and they looked at matter. That was all that they could understood in the moment. And here's the kicker. It wasn't their money. It was her money. They were wealthy, wealthier than most, the Lazarus and his sisters. It was her money. She bought that oil. She gave it to Jesus. They had nothing to do with the choice or the purchase, but yet they had an opinion about it. They had a really strong opinion about it. They were choosing and judging how she chose to love Jesus. And Jesus said, "You men, be still and let her alone. You don't know what you say. The poor are with you constantly. At any time you can minister to them, but I will not be with you long." The level of consciousness that experiences lack in matter, which we would call poor, are always here because people are incarnating to have that experience. They want to know, what does it feel like to have lack? They learn through that. They'll always have a group of people who want to have the experience of lack of matter versus abundance of matter. You can't change that. And in reality, they haven't really been teaching people to change their matter, have they? All this time they've been teaching, they've been working on people's spirits, not their financial bank account, not follow me and you'll get richer. He never said that to anybody. His eye was always on the spirit. And yet their eye was on the matter at this moment. I will not be with you long. Whew. Mary knows the sadness of the coming days. She has anointed me beforehand for my burial. The gospel of the Christ will everywhere be preached, and he who tells the story of the Christ will tell about this day. And what was done by Mary at this hour will be a sweet memorial to her wherever men abide. And that is written in all of the texts where the story is written. This will be held as a memorial to her, and where the story is told, you will tell her story. And that's probably the only reason that in the text of the Matthew, we have the story. Because Jesus said, you're going to tell this story. So when we look at the story, we're looking at something that is happening that the men of the world cannot understand. So if you think with me, this is Wednesday night. Wednesday night. Jesus has been teaching these men what's going to happen. He just told them that afternoon what was going to happen. He just told them what was going to happen. Wednesday night. Thursday night, the very next day, is the Passover supper. This is where we get our Last Supper. This is where we get our communion. In the Passover supper, Jesus tells them again everything that's going to happen. And they argue with him, and they fight with him, and they say it's not going to happen. Well, he said, I'm going to be arrested. He told them, I'm going to be arrested. He said, I'm going to be arrested. And they said, you won't be arrested. We'll stand by your side. We will defend you. You won't be arrested. He said, I'm going to be arrested, and you will be scattered like sheep. Listen to what I'm saying. And they argued with him. Thursday night. They went to pray, and he was arrested. And everything went down. By Friday morning, he was crucified. So, Wednesday is one day away from his death. One day. So, I think about those guys, those disciples, and I wonder what would they really have done if they knew? If they'd stopped fighting and started listening, what would they have done that Wednesday night? What would they have done Thursday if they really knew that what Jesus was saying to them was really true and really going to happen? How would they have changed their approach to him? You know, when you think about it, they were fighting over money that wasn't theirs. They were arguing over a perfume that wasn't even their perfume, totally missing what she was doing. She knew the burial was coming. She was anointing this human body, this human man that she loved, to prepare him for that next step, for what he was going to be doing. Mary honored his mission. Mary did not like what he said, I'm sure. Who would? You know, we don't want to hear that someone we love, their path is taking them to a place where they're not going to be taken care of. You know, we couldn't see the spiritual gifting. But she trusted him. She trusted the Christ in him. And she loved him. So, why is it told in memorial to her? Because she saw the Christ in him, and she supported it spiritually without understanding. She is the first to actually get out of her own opinion and her own view of matter to say if this is what you're guided to do. If this is truly what you need to do, what can I do to help you? Can I stand by your side? What can I do? What do you need me to do? Do you know how much courage it takes to say that? How much courage it takes to see the spiritual being of another? So, accepting the Christ in others is our topic today. And Mary was the first to really do that. We can easily accept the Christ in each other because we love each other. And I have no opinion about what you guys are doing. But come into my personal world, me come into your personal world, do you think opinions will fly? Oh, yeah. Of course they will. Opinions are going to fly. And we're going to look at it through matter. We're going to go away from spirit, and we're going to start looking at the physical. When we see someone doing something we don't want them to do, our eye has shifted from their Christ to what we know to be true for us. Not what's true for them, but what's true for us. Fortunately, we don't have to experience what Mary did, but we experience it daily in varying degrees. When we speak to those we love, we tend to listen through our own experiences. We see how it would work for us. We see how we would stay safe. We see how we can make things happen. But do we see their Christ, their spirit? No. Typically, we don't. Ask any parent whose child has come to them and said, I'm going to go do something wild and crazy. The parent says, oh my God, how much money do you have in the bank? Oh my God. I don't know how many years ago, Noelle came to Patrick and said, I'm moving to Yellowstone. It's like, wasn't that where you went, Yellowstone? And Patrick's like, what? You're what? How you going to eat? But the Christ in her was calling her. She had no choice. She had to go. And everything was beautiful, and she was supplied, and she was supported. And I'm sure he did see her mission and purpose, but the first response is human. The first response is, Daddy. The first response is, let me keep you safe. I don't know what you're doing. I've never done that before. I don't know how to help you with that. But and it's okay to have that, but then we have to come to that moment where we see the spirit of the other. Our minds of matter always take us to, will you succeed? Will you be safe? Are you going to make it the way I would make it? What do you think you're doing? And we look through the eyes of the world, and when we do, we can never see the Christ of that person, ever. Our spirit may not be able to know the purpose of another spirit, but we can trust that the Christ within that other person does know. Does know. And, I've seen many people let me know they're going to die physically. And I've failed and succeeded in that test several times. But I'm really not just talking about when the Christ within that person is getting ready to cross over. I'm talking about when the Christ in that person is wanting to live differently, wanting to be different than we want them to be. It's about facing life with new eyes. Most of us have problems when people are leaving us. Oh my God, that was one of my major lessons my whole life. I moved around a lot, loved it, made friends everywhere, but the church, when people would come into the church and then they'd leave the church, it's like, oh, where are you going? Why are you going? I love you, don't you leave? Yeah, I had to go through that so many times. When they choose things that we don't understand, Yellowstone, crazy things. When they're in pain, and they're staying in pain, and they won't stop the pain, and we're going, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Please stop that. But maybe the Christ within them is having them learn layers of understanding that would never be taught in any other way for them. Maybe that's how they learn. We don't know. We also have problems when people are having experiences that we don't want to have. We have problems with that. If we could accept the Christ within each individual, our eye would stay on their spirit. Then the limitations in our world would melt. Do you see how wonderful that would be? When we can see their spirit, just our eye on their spirit, and go, okay, I don't understand. I would not want to walk that path. I can't walk that path with you. That's not how I'm learning. But I see your spirit, and I want you to do what you need to do. The minute we do that, our own perception of limitations is melting because we've seen possibilities for another. Isn't that amazing? When we give others permission to be different than us, we give ourselves permission to be different as well. Okay. And we could create the spiritual connections that we all need. I do not know what is right for you, but the God in you does know what is right for you. I do not know. I love you enough to let you leave me. I love you enough to let my ideas not be in you. I love you enough to listen to your ideas and to respect them. Accepting the Christ in others, even when we can't see it, that Christ is there. And I know so many of us say, I don't know about that one, you know? Because in the outer world, they're acting in such a way that is so foreign to us that it does not feel positive on any single level whatsoever. But they're still a child of God, and within them is still a God self seeking to unfold somehow. The journey may not be our journey. Spirit said, you don't have to call my outer behavior good. You just have to accept that their God self will lead them to a path of ultimate happiness when they are ready. You guys getting it? When they are ready, their God self will lead them to ultimate happiness. And treasure the Christ in you, and treasure the Christ in those you love. How many of you would have the courage to take some money and buy some rich perfume for someone who's getting ready to do something that's absolutely crazy? To say, I'm going to invest in you. I don't have a clue what you're doing. I don't want to see what you're doing. I don't like the ending of what you're doing. I'm so afraid for you. But I'm going to take my essence of who I am, my wealth of spirit, my wealth of finances, whatever it was. It happened to be her finances and her spirit both, Mary's. But to take my wealth and invest in your journey without condition, without asking anything from you. Take this. What do you need? Let me honor you. Let my love go with you, because I can't go with you. But my love can. How often are we called to do that? You know, we walk on a path of collective consciousness. We've talked about community all year, and we're all kind of on a general path together. We're all kind of walking together, trying to Christ. It's easy for us to support one another, but there are other people in our world that might need our support in a given moment, in a given way, you know? And it may not be of like consciousness. It may not be of like consciousness. But I know we're called to honor the Christ, to honor the movement. Why would she be spoken of when they speak of me? Why will she be spoken of? Because she is the one who said yes to his mission. She said yes. And the disciples scattered when he was arrested. The disciples were not there when he was crucified. Mary was. Mary was there. She was there when they brought him down. She visited the tomb. She brought herbs to dress his body in the tomb, and it wasn't there. She walked that path the best she could with him. And the ones who kept their eye on matter, who said, I cannot understand what you're talking about, so I'm going to look at matter instead, they hid in fear of being arrested as well. And probably there was a warrant out for them, I'm sure, but they were afraid. Because their eye was on the matter. Their eye was on, what is the world going to do to us? Look what the world did to him. Not remembering that he said, I am going through this, and I am saying yes to this. I'm agreeing to this experience. But her love was with him, no matter what he chose. She saw and invested in the Christ. We all have so many stories when we have experiences that we don't understand, of friends and loved ones, and we have to move into a space where their inner Christ, God self, is freed from our opinions. When someone crosses early, you're forced to do that, are you not? I have to be free from my opinion at that point. I didn't want you to go, but you're free. It's the people that we walk with, the people that we see, the people that we encounter, the people of our world. If we could offer them the same acceptance. You're looking mighty funny right now, mighty interesting, but I know that there is a God self within you. And I may not be called to invest in the moment, but I can at least free you from my opinion and judgment. I can free you from my thoughts. And those that I love, oh my gosh, should I not take a moment to honor them? Should I not take a moment to bathe them with whatever I have to give them? Instead of pretending like it's not going to happen? You realize that your eye focuses on material as a defense mechanism sometimes because you cannot handle what Spirit's getting ready to do. So we go, okay, I'm not going to look at that God. I'm just going to think about other things. And when someone comes and shares their heart with you, have you ever changed the subject? Yeah, because they're sharing their heart and they're telling you something. You go, oh, how about that weather? Oh, let me tell you about my job. Oh, yeah, let me change the topic. Because I can deal better with matter than I can deal with what you're saying to me. We need to be conscious of that. We need to be awake and aware. When someone is sharing their Christ light with us, it may be time for us just to sit and listen. Just to listen. And then do what we're called to do. I know all of us that have lost someone quickly, we always think, what could I have done? What opportunity did I miss? Those of us that have lost people, and by lost I mean crossing over, lost people over a long period of time, that's why a lot of people get sick for a long period of time, so you can get used to letting them go. So you can get used to the idea that one day they are going to cross, and I need to get good with that. In both cases, our agreement would not be there, would it? It's time for you to go. In both cases, our human self goes, no, I don't want you to go. But our higher self, our Christ self, our God self knows to trust theirs, to trust their God self. I want to take it just one step further and we'll close. Jesus Christ left his life as an example and pattern for us all. The Christ in you. Is there some anointing, some treasure that you need to bring to your own inner Christ? As your Christ is seeking to get you to see changes that are upon you or to see things that you need to do. Do you hear what I'm saying? Maybe we need to actually get the treasure box out for our own journey, our own life journey, and anoint our own inner Christ with love, with acceptance, and with peace. So we can say yes to what's being asked of us. So we can say yes to opening to that next step. It's easier to watch Mary, isn't it? We love Mary. I love Mary. I love Mary. It's easy to watch Mary. She's fabulous. I don't know if I wouldn't have been right there with the disciples. You know, cannot say. But I love Mary. We need to bring a little bit more of her into us. All right, let's go within. And just breathe. Father, Mother God, I ask that your light engulf us all once again in a beautiful calm of peace. And I would ask each one of you, just right where you are in your beautiful calm of light, just to imagine Jesus Christ stepping forward and taking your hand. Our Master, our way shower, the one who gifted this planet with God love in a way that lifts us so. And as you take his hand, feel your own vibration lifting. Feel there is a silent communication occurring. A knowing moving between the two of you. Feel your heart becoming bright. And ask that your divinity, your Christ self, just open within. Feel your thoughts, the human thoughts, watching. And ask, what do I need to do for myself? And now breathe in divine mind. I let divine Christed thoughts move through me now. And look once again at the face of Jesus Christ. And feel a complete connection. A complete peace. Now let your focus just go to the world. And we're going to invite one person, whoever comes forward is the perfect person for you. One person that you have held at less than love. Whoever that might be, have them step forward. And as you look at them, have no opinion. Ask to see the Christ within them, their godlike self. And you'll see a spark. Perhaps it will grow large, perhaps not, but you'll see a spark. And I want you to realize you don't have to harmonize with this being. But you can accept this being. I behold the Christ in you. And I accept that you are on your perfect journey to ultimate God awareness and happiness. And I free you from my thoughts and my opinions. And see a beautiful light come and just lift them away. And feel the peace. Focus one more time on Jesus' face. And let the love flow. I choose to invest in my Christed journey. I choose to invest in love. Breathe. Feel the love just engulfing you. Feel yourself in that beautiful column of light. Feel your awareness coming back to your chair. Feel the peace. Feel the God thought. And we thank you, God. Take a breath again and just gently open your eyes. Were you able to find peace? Did someone interesting show up? Yeah. Our Christ unfolding, our Christ expressing, seeing the unlimited nature of our brother man and being that unlimited nature ourselves. That's our journey. And are we glad that we're here to do that?
Yes.
Say yay, God.
Yeah.
Thank you.